my name is Gino Lee from Asian Arts Initiative. I am the Marketing and Communications Manager here at Asian Arts Initiative. I am here to introduce you to the program of the night, but before we go into the introduction, I would like to acknowledge that this land that we are gathering here tonight is part of the traditional territory of the Lenni Lenape, called Lenape Booking. The Lenape people lived in harmony with one another upon this territory for thousands of years. During the colonial era and the early federal period, many of the Lenni Lenape people were removed to the west and to the north, but some also remained among the three continuing historical tribal communities of the region: the Nanticoke Lenni Lenape tribal nation, the Ramapo Lenape nation, and the Powhatan Lenape nation. We acknowledge the Lenni Lenape as the original people of this land and their continuing relationship with their territory, and we hope that through your visits, you will continue to acknowledge the first peoples of this place. Tonight, I would like to welcome a special panel of guests who will be discussing the education crisis we've experienced throughout this pandemic. This past school year, in response to COVID-19, 78 organizations throughout Philadelphia participated in the Access Center program. Each Access Center provided a safe space and learning support to K-6 students where they were invited to bring their school laptops to attend their virtual classes. The education staff from Access Centers were at the front line of serving the youth, students, and other young students in person. What can those Access Center students and staff share about the education system in the city and in this country through their experiences through this past school year? Tonight, we have Access Center staff from different organizations, including Cambodian Association of Greater Philadelphia, Norris Square Community Alliance, and us, Asian Arts Initiative, to debrief about the Access Center experience and discuss about the future of the education. The discussion will be moderated by Jin Yao Yu, a senior editorial associate from Result Philly. And without further ado, here are our guests.
Hi everyone, my name is Jing Yao with Result Philly. Our work provides ground for journalistic initiatives that push the field of journalism to be more equitable, collaborative, and informed by community voices and solutions. I have the honor of guiding our conversation with these amazing panelists tonight. Starting with Megan, let's have folks introduce themselves, the organization that you represent, maybe a mission statement of the work that you do.
Hi, I'm Megan, and I'm a teaching artist for the Asian Arts Initiative. And I'm in a newer role. I came on just to support the Access Center, and that's where I met Rodney.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rodney Kumarsi from the Asian Arts Initiative. I'm the Senior Programs Manager here. And Asian Arts Initiative is a community-based arts organization to enhance the voice of the community in
Good evening. I'm Rex Nangolinian, or Rex for short. I'm the Children's Youth Development Director at the Cambodian Association of Greater Philadelphia. We're a over 40-year-old multi-service social service agency, community-based organization in North and South Philadelphia, serving the Cambodian community in Greater Philadelphia through direct service, advocacy, and cultural education.
Hi, I'm Ursula Peterson. I am the site director for OST's after school program for summer camp at William Hunter Elementary, and then in the fall, John Moffett. I work for North Square, as they have stated. We service in North Philadelphia, Kensington area. We service the Hispanic community, and we offer a whole bunch of awesome services from early childhood, Head Start, after school program, housing, a whole bunch of stuff.
Thank you. Yeah. Call us. Thank you all for the introduction. So, kind of before we begin, I want to recognize two things. One, this is weird because this is the first time I'm seeing everyone in person. Like we've had, a couple Zoom meetings, and I'm also used to like having my Word document pulled up on the side while taking notes while I'm like looking at people on my right. So this is lovely to be in physical community with all of you here. Secondly, I would recognize, I anticipate that we will be talking a lot about the relationships that y'all have with each other as community partners, but also with like different agencies as well as systems that informs the work that we do. And that I hope that this will be a space where we as individuals, but also collectively, won't abandon our ability to acknowledge our lived experiences, however critical it may be of the agencies and the systems involved in all of our work. So to kind of begin, for an uninformed audience member, what does it mean to be an access center?
We just do it popcorn style.
Yes, this is like family conversation,
Yeah.
the food is over there, just.
Yeah, I can answer or start off. The Access Center was an initiative by the Mayor's Office of Children and Families through existing contracts for out-school grant partners across the city. So education organizations, social service organizations who had existing contracts as OST program providers had the opportunity last summer to opt in to serve as an Access Center site. And as an Access Center, instead of offering the typical 3 to 6 p.m., 3 to 7 p.m. at-school program, they shifted to a full-day model, which sites were serving students as early as 7:30 and as late as 4:30 or 5, and during those times, supporting students with their full-day schedule. And the full-day schedule is also a very broad term, because we have students of a variety of learning needs, schedules, and et cetera. So as an Access Center, one, it's providing that supervision and that academic support with kids during that school day learning. The other is provide a space. So the Access Center program was targeted for families who were working in person, families who had limited English proficiencies, and families who may have kids who have some form of specific learning need that really need that in-person support. So it's the whole shebang. And then I know for me, it's like some things I just had on is that we provide also healthy meals. We also want to recognize that meals and food insecurities is something we highlight in regards to education. And then beyond school day, students in our sites were also given opportunities to do academic enrichment, in-person socialization, if able to do field trips or have additional workshops beyond school day. That's what I would say was like.
A plus,
Yeah.
you get it both sides. That sounded like a lot, and I'm curious, like, how much of it were like the very explicit expectations based on, your contract as an OST or out-school center provider and access center provider with the various agencies, or how much of it was just kind of like, this is just what we got to do.
I think also we should just go back in time a little bit too.
Yeah.
Thinking about when we opted into this program, it was maybe still the beginning or the middle of it. I don't know what point it was in that time, but it was definitely like people were asked to make a decision to change into this model in a fairly quick time without knowing exactly what was going to happen. So when you summed it up, it's like, oh yeah, we didn't know all those things. Right? All we knew was we're going to log students on, we're going to give them a lunch, and then all of it was just we had to figure out like what time their lunch was going to be. Some people had a 10:30 lunch, and another kid would have like a 12:30 lunch. So then it's like figuring out how we can do activities and their enrichments and stuff like that. But I think as OST providers, I think we're used to supporting students and families and working with students that are often called underserved or something like that. But we just pivoted. Asian Arts Initiative definitely had to pivot in a very drastic way, where there was no longer a art component to it, where it became more of a school-based program where we weren't really equipped or trained to be able to do a lot of that. Teaching English as a second language or teaching new math, because that's fun.
For y'all, you had to shift the age demographic, which was.
Yes, yes. So typically it's middle school, I think because of access, it's younger, so kids that never went to school before had to learn how to go to school
On
in
the
a,
computer.
on a computer, right?
Yeah. That was a little difficult only because it's like you're getting kids who either never been to preschool or Head Start, and then they're just coming in to a whole environment. They don't know who these people are, and you're giving them a computer. And yeah, they know how to like work a tablet, but like being on a computer and then focusing and then trying to keep them on learning and paying attention to the teacher, and then making sure that they're not like clicking off and going on YouTube or doing games and stuff. So like that was a bit of a challenge, but I would say I can speak for myself that we did our best to make sure the kids succeeded. Because it was like I said earlier, it was like a trial and error year. All this was new and it's an experience. It's an experience.
I think stepping back again to the spring where OCF modified the contracts again prior to excellence, in which because all of our in-person sites closed, they then were like, well, we're going to offer an online virtual remote OC program. So sites responded differently to that too. And like our site, we did try to keep things between like 2 and 5, or because we later learned the school district was also doing remote learning. But I know some other sites did 11 to 3. But even with, like, it's interesting because like during that time, our staff at CGP was calling parents like, hey, did you know that your kids are going back to school online? They can download this app called Zoom, or they're getting email, they already have an email through the school district's email system. Do you know their district email password? Do you know Google Meet? I think that was also an interesting transition. And so I think for our staff, it was like, well, that was what the spring was like. And in the fall, I found out to be 100% remote. It's like, it was almost like we felt concerned that it's need that all over again, and it was. Helping kids log into Zoom again, helping them how to navigate Google Classroom or Canvas or whatever software that the school was giving them. There was a lot of like upfront navigation work that we weren't really, or at least in our staff wasn't equipped to do right away. And then, his last point is CGP, we were in a really interesting predicament because our access center is also part of a licensed childcare center. So we were actually open for in-person services since July. So we already had students in our center before the start of the school year. And so we had the opportunity to do like trial and error in-person programming. But the only difference though is that this full-day program wasn't summer. OSC providers were very familiar with the summer camp schedule, summer camp experience, and designing your learning experience around the summer camp feel. But don't you tell OSC providers that they do 9 months of full-day programming, and it was a schedule that didn't belong to us? I echo Rodney, was like, what are we doing?
Right. Because, like my staff, they don't have an education background. So we're telling them, from summer camp, okay, so guys, this is what we're doing. And they're just looking at shit and like, what? So you're just, they're a little nervous, and when the school comes and kids are coming, and like they're getting like hit with like, okay, so this is the code, so you log them in, well, how do you log them in? So it's like it's a lot of figuring out. So I think that's where like, our staff like kind of stepped up and like pretty much wasn't teacher of the classroom, but was like a teacher assistant of the classroom. Was helping them over with like the math. And I'm like, they're asking me, and I'm like, I have no idea what this math is. I learned long division. This is long division. I don't know. So it's like a lot of strong hands.
Yeah,
But it was an experience.
I think the school district also did, I don't know how much they were acknowledging, how much, even parents, I don't know if they were helping students. At that point, I think there's one narrative that everyone has. The student is at home, a parent is at home.
Yeah.
And they're all working around the kitchen table together. Where I think a lot of the parents that we work with are also working or trying to, some of them are sent, find work. And so it's just like, and some of them, like, we're not internet savvy, you know? Yeah. So I think part of our role too is like being these liaisons to the parents, to the schools, to the teacher. You would have to tell the teacher like, well, the parent wants the student to do this, or the teacher said. And then during those dropouts, if the student didn't finish an assignment or something, then you have to report it. And so it's just like trying to be this middle manager in a really tough situation.
Relationships that have to coordinate, and it seems like the relationships that you have with students, families, communities, educators, and systems, they're not necessarily communicating with each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would totally agree with that, yeah. Yeah, it felt very strange. I also like did not come from an educational background. This is kind of my first big year, my entrance into working with kids. I was like, surprise.
Yeah.
Like in that capacity, and I came into it from like a private version of the Access Center. So I was working with a school who did after-school programming, was like a martial arts school. And so they have regular paying families who were used to this enrichment. And so they pivoted to offer some of the program, paid program.
Yeah.
So it was a version where they could see the same staff that their kids had grown up with, they were comfortable in that space, they could keep going there. And then I came over to this version, which was just so different because of like everyone being kind of a stranger and not being connected. Like in the other version, parents, tutors or supervisors and students were all connected already.
Yeah.
They were like already have this kind of community, and then over here it was just this makeshift community that just kind of had to somehow happen, and it just in a lot of ways I feel like it just didn't click. Just like it was so hard to try and like tie virtual teacher to parent to student to provider. It's so strange. It was very strange. Yeah.
It was an experience. That's my thing. It was an experience.
Yeah.
It was an experience, yeah. Good, bad, all of it. Learned.
The relationship building that was very interesting in this regard, well, more like challenging, because systems are so disconnected. I would, as a personal opinion, I would tell the school district didn't really get a formal introduction on what access centers were. And even charter schools were also having kids who are at access centers. There wasn't really much say that this is incredible. And I honestly believe that the access center model and the services was a service. And many families, vulnerable families, marginalized communities truly benefit from it. But because the system's being so disconnected, it was just so hard to really make it feel truly cohesive. I think for our center, there was schools that we worked with for many years. And then with the access center coming in, it just felt like we had to put so much more effort into relationships. There was more teachers we had to form relationships with. There were more principals we had to connect with. We had to get more familiar with the counselors too. And then because every child may have a different schedule, we getting more familiar with specialists involved in the child's lives. It was different compared to the past where it's like, oh, we'll just have one or two per people that we connect with at schools to be our relationship builder or liaison per se. But with the access center, it's like, I know for me, it's like, I'll expect some teachers, I'll teachers. And it didn't happen right away. I think some relationships didn't form until maybe like January. And I was like,
Never.
or never. It's not because we had great teachers who were very responsive and we're grateful for that relationship building. And I know it's 2 quarters into the school year, and we're trying to get the kids' grades to go up, or their participation to improve, or whatever it is, more submissions in their assignments. Then there's other teachers who are just like, it's like, where is the student? Why are I calling this up? No, yeah, go ahead. Like seriously, oh wow.
No, I mean, like, we would get phone calls, from the school, and like, oh, what's going on? And we're like, oh, okay, well, we go in the classroom, and we're like, hey, so you're from YouTube? Oh, wow,
It's
so you're
very
supposed to be
fun.
in class right
Yeah.
But my teacher said I was on lunch break. I hear, no, I never said.
No, I never said that, yeah.
And that's the problem, like a lot of them, like when they think that they were done, and it's like, no, you're not done for the day, but they'll completely log off. So then it's like, well, where's your information? I don't know my information. And I'm like, okay, call mom at work, and then we're talking to the teacher, and then we're trying to, it's like our staff, and like, as we were like literally the middleman. We were, okay, so the mom was saying, can you let Miss So-and-so know? Okay, let Miss So-and-so, can you tell the mom? I'm like, okay. And then my staff's like, I'm like, it's okay, guys, just, we're helping the families, and we're helping the teachers, we're helping the parents, because, you know, teachers is working, you know, trying to get their kid together, and the parents, you know, trying to find a job while working, so we're just helping. We're that glue, we're helping.
I think for all the teachers all watching, they told us they had half day. All of them told us they had half day.
Every day was a half day.
Oh,
We were
yeah.
done at 12 o'clock.
Oh,
And then there's another thing, for lunches, so it's like, some of my kids would literally have 15-minute break, and then some will have 3-hour break. I'm like, well, what the heck are they gonna do for this 3 hours?
yeah.
So it's like miscommunication, and some like, well, my teacher's on a break, and the teacher's like, no. I said from 12 to 12:15, I told 12:30, and they're like, okay, well, the schedules, because then the schedules changed. Well, I think at least for like a lot of our kids was, I think it was like towards the end of the year, that a lot of the schedules changed. And then we had to redo all the schedules, because we had like, you know, schedule like outside time and like indoor time, you know, for them to like run around, because they're in a classroom for Lord knows how long, and you know, they're just focused, so you know, you have to give them that fun time, and that was,
Because there was a time when everyone was supposed to go on hybrid learning.
yes,
And it was supposed to be in November, but I think
it pushed, I think it was in March.
Oh,
Like that,
March, and depending on the grade.
and
That
depending on which
too,
grade,
and that's when all the schedules changed, and
Yeah,
like
and
all
then
the
all
how
in, so then
yes.
parents and students have to opt into being hybrid learning and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that we're shifting and adapting to, but we're able to control or really navigate for the families. Right? I think we were recommending some students really just need to be in person. They could not handle
Yeah.
being on Zoom for that long. So it was hard to advocate. It's also just I think at some point you're gonna have to talk to teachers and parents and give them a reality check. It's like there's not much we can do.
Right.
We just want to keep them from going crazy and hurting themselves or others. So part of it was just like, look, they're losing it, we're losing it, you're losing it.
Everyone's.
Yeah. So let's work on this. And I think part of that relationship really got built with parents, because I think they kept saying how appreciative they were of just us being there,
Yes.
of being able, we were listening to so many stories, and it was like we were internalizing so much of what was happening in their lives. That was like, okay, how do we get them services? How do we contact their caseworker? How do we, and then just unloading so much, sometimes it's just like heavy. And then we were like, okay, we're gonna act normally with your students, because none of that should matter when they're coming in.
Right.
So it's like game-based. They just admitted all this other stuff's happening. Work with the student. How do we make sure that they?
So how did y'all show up for yourselves and each other to put on all of this knowledge and to recognize the challenges that you're facing as providers, but also, in parallel with what students, families, and communities are facing in the education system? Like, how do you process through that?
Yeah. That's how I go. I'm still processing.
In real time, I'll say, like, in real time as it was happening, we had a really great system of like tagging out. So it's like if something was getting heavy, if something was getting like, you got kids throwing lunch meat at you.
That's a real story.
That's a real story. And you got, another one running around, got their mouse.
Zoom burnout? How?
Yeah. We had a great kind of system where you could go inform one of the other staff members, be like, hey, this is the situation, and the other person would be like, why don't you go take a walk? And I'll handle it, and kind of just like move us around, keep the energy moving, keep
Yeah.
people from getting too stagnant. I feel like that was kind of our move.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're gonna be in the active space for an hour, what? Switch out with me. You can go into the quieter space.
There's definitely telepathy to develop. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
what-
Yeah,
and then the student would be like, just, and I'm like, let me take this.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was.
But it was hard to switch to like a self-care mode, because like, I think part of it was, there was burnout on a lot of sides. I think like, even when we were trying to advocate for families or for access centers that the city didn't have as much resources or weren't able to provide a lot of the support that we were asking for them. So we actually looked to each other. It was like, I saw you on Zoom, said that thing. Like, let's contact some other people that had a similar experience. I think that's how you went that more. It's like,
I know you're crazy.
but it was just like one of those things. It's like you start to see like develop. Like I think there's other access centers that have talked to us for a while, and you joined us to help get the access center voice out there, because I think one of the things we were talking about is like we don't feel as heard or seen in the city because of the work that we were doing. And let's go to February. Vaccinations were coming out, and we were still not on the list, right? So it's like we were trying to figure out like how to explain it to where also in the front line, we're also here with everybody. And people ask, I don't understand. Are you in school?
Nobody
Yeah.
knew what access centers were. That was one of the strangest things. It's like, if you were part of an access center community, you knew, but I like explained, to my friends, they're like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm in an access center. No one
Yeah,
knows.
they're like, what is that? I'm like, I don't know. How did they not?
How do you
Yeah.
just go to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Yeah, I guess quick comment about the vaccine rollout. It's like we've been in the front lines for so long, and to be eventually like we were essentially grandfathered into the educators phase category, whatever. Because it was almost like there still wasn't that sense of privilege. Because many of the teachers, K-12 teachers who also were eligible for the vaccine weren't even teaching in person. So here we were providing some in-person service in support of these K-12 teachers who were also like benefiting from this. It didn't really feel any more special, to be honest. And even for like child providers who were working through the summer, there wasn't any gold stars, any incentives and benefits on top of it. We were still blanketed in and aggregated to this whole pandemic experience. There's another lesson. You said it was your question. I just kind of. Oh, self-care. It was hard. It was hard. It really was exhausting. I mean, I think I'll admit now, like I lost like 3-4 staff as the access center wrapped up. These are staff people who've been with the organization who love working with kids, and honestly the burnout from the school year was real, and they were ready to step out when Jimmy came in, and I saw them. Honestly, I recognized that the year was very challenging, very hard, and that was my wish. My wish was to be better at self-care, but with all the moving elements and structure and things that were like outside of us that then in turn affected us. It's like I wish I had a better cohesive way to tap in, tap out, or acknowledge my staff self-care. I remember telling my staff by like March, I was like, tell me when you want to take off. Like I need you to take off. So, and even like for myself and like my co-administrator, it was like a ride every day. We're bearing not just the support of students, but we're bearing the weight of any other administrative responsibilities of the organizations. It was rough. It's like we're working with the kids side by side, but we're trying to tune into this webinar about public anything. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So am I really tuning into this? Am I actually listening to this webinar right now that I'm like required to go to when this child actually needs help with this math problem? I think it felt like a year being very stretched, honestly. There was moments of self-care, and there was moments of like, know what happened at the time. I don't know what was lunch, yeah.
You had mentioned, they collectively and individually, advocacy work based on issues that arose, from what you witnessed and what you heard from families. What were some of those things specifically, and what other supports do you wish that you had as a provider or just as individuals, from whatever the powers may be that could have been, could have leveraged on?
When we beginning, before Megan joined us too, we really needed Spanish dominant, or Spanish speaking translations like that. And I think that would have helped a lot of different things, like knowing where they could go for support or something like that. I think we were just struggling with, can you call your school? We were trying to help students with just being able to log on, but access the internet, through that. I think it eventually provided a hotspot, so they stopped coming to us, but we really just wanted to support them and figure out how to do it. And we didn't know what other services they needed, so it was hard to really translate what core services we had. A lot of that, I think, is just like, there was less of a coordinated effort on all the things. I think we're seeing like people doing the food distribution wasn't connected. I mean, we could have easily said, like, these are the food distribution sites in this area. You could easily go there, pick up your kid, do this thing. We didn't know what was happening with that. So if there's more, we had someone with housing insecurity. We didn't know who to call for that. But it was just like a lot of different elements that we were like, okay, we're going to refer people. Like, it was just like really a hub that could catch some of these bigger issues.
Like a centralized system of communication.
Yeah.
Like different agencies.
Yeah, there's a school district, the city agency, and I don't know who was doing the free lunch. I know we had a free lunch because but we had earlier there was that other food box groups, right?
It's the London's.
So abundance.
Did one, the London's did one.
Right, so they're all separate, right? It's like
Yeah,
no one
yeah.
really saying like these are the ways you can access these services. I still don't know. I know there's like a lot of housing groups, but specifically for families or different resources like that. So I think we were like looking for more like team meetings where we could say like, these are the problems these families are having, instead of being like this is the new rollout of some other thing that we have to accomplish. There's these mandates of like, I don't know if that's at where we're at on the ground. We're boots on the ground. Here's what's happening. Here's what families are feeling, we're going through. How do we help them? So I agree. There's some things that's like, is this what we're going to help in this moment, or should we just pause it? But I think for us, I'll go back to like internal self-care. We were able to just like recognize that there's gonna be burnout. You don't want people to like necessarily like flee, and then
I saw that message. Like,
but we were just like,
no.
the stress of can't come, right? We were like, look, let's remember that we're in the home stretch here, but we're gonna have to continue this amazing camp that they're doing right now, and have that energy with students. Because I think part of it is like, you might not get the same students and you might not have the same problems with camp, but you can have this trauma, a student throwing baloney at you. But it might just be like, that was just an incident because of the situation. It could have just been an isolated incident.
Sounds like it was a way that the children were internalizing their own trauma.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like the difference, I've also not been in a kind of leadership role in a camp before too. And just kind of the difference in engagement and like how I see the students acting, socializing, see their work, like, is like mind-blowing. Like, I thought there was something wrong with these kids. I was like, why are they all so quiet and focused and respectful? It's like, oh, because we're able to offer them way more engaging stuff. We're able to offer them a friendly environment. Like, they want to come here. They're like, you know, and before, no one wanted to do what they were doing. Like, I know that the city was like, you know, struggling to figure out how to transition to learning to all the teachers and all the education stuff is like obviously everyone was doing it. That's a big good thing. I'm so confused why we thought it was a good idea to have kids try and manage like a full-time virtual job. Like most adults can't handle being on a computer for 8 hours a day. Like, you know, there are people who are like, yeah, computers aren't my thing, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
We were making all these 5 and 6-year-olds do that, like, you know.
That's
So of
crazy.
course, when now we have like our own programming back, like it's just like a whole other world. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that I get to be part of this too and like see that it, you know.
I think that's here too.
It's so good. It's so
Having
good.
camp back in the real world.
Yeah.
You know, felt like that.
Yes. Because like during the school year, it's like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then then the year goes on, and you're just like, okay. Then you start to like, this is getting too much.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And then when you're summer kid, you're like, I could be around people, I could go do stuff. Like we're taking our first school trip this Friday, so yeah, so it's like, oh my gosh, normal. So so being back, even though we're not like 100% normal, but it's better than being in a classroom for 8 hours on a computer.
Yeah.
Not, they have to sit and just watch, that's too much. Or especially someone like a little kid that came from home and never, ever, they could be on a computer or a laptop or a tablet and watch, Coco Melon or whatever all day. But when they have to focus and do work, they're looking at you like, who is, why, what is this? This isn't Coco Melon. What is this?
Yeah.
This is a seat. So they're just like, it's different, so I'm glad that we have this sense of normality back and everything's pretty much lifted and, because kids they were struggling this year. They were struggling being in a classroom for 8 hours and looking at a teacher talking to them and they have no idea what they're saying. It's different when you're watching it on a computer versus when you're in an actual classroom. Because when you're in an actual classroom, you get that, that one-on-one help from physical, like learning and visual from a teacher, then you're like watching them and they're just talking. And like they might writing and showing, but it's just a different vibe.
And I think we could have predicted that at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
They can only do this for 2 hours. So the teacher, school, district, whatever, could predict, like, okay, how much can they do? Like, have a 2-year-old. Okay, put them in front of the screen a little bit, but it can only take so much before it just wants kid time or other interactions and stuff like that. He goes to the park with the first for kids. It's like, kid.
Oh.
So, he's like,
There you are.
yeah, it's just like, but they're hungry for interaction. And when you stick them in front of the screen and there's no interaction, it's just mute yourself. Turn on your video. There was a tough time where in the beginning I was like, okay, I had to chat up all those kindergarten teachers like interacting with that, and then you just see it like throughout different months. It was like, okay, now we're gonna do that. And it was just like, heartbreaking to see teachers not loving the teaching, because it was tough to interact that way and not get the feedback. And at high school, it's also like, we're just interacting with blank screens with names on. And so the teachers, I commend you. And next year's gonna be amazing because we're gonna go in person. Crossing out.
All supervisors will be right there with you, right?
We'll know how to keep it safe. But this opportunity, when the school district, I think also wanted to talk about like community schools. I don't know if what they meant or how they were going to interpret it. This would have been a great year to start that process, right? To really collaborate, because we could have done PE, we were like all down with yoga with students, but it was like they were just stuck doing whatever it was on the screen. I think they were trying to do school the way they do school, but wasn't interpreting. It was like you're competing with these amazing YouTubers. You know, how is that teacher better than who's a YouTuber? You know what I'm talking about. Kids will fill in the blank, yeah. Or
Oh, the one
Fortnite.
that reviews things.
Oh, something.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it pops up every once in a while.
The toy review?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. Because students would be watching that, I'm like, okay, that's not your teacher, but I can see why they're more entertained by this. So it was like, I don't know, there was this missed opportunity, like having the in-person staff just develop those curriculum with the teacher or school or.
Yeah.
I want to kind of pivot and look ahead. Before, I also want to take a moment and just ask, like, what were some of the highlights from the past year, right? Because you named a lot of challenges, in relationship building and identity, as individuals and the work that you do, am I an educator or not an educator, and also, what was it, relationships, identity, and just a number of ways that, both you as, again, writers and collectively with students, families, and communities, the different systems of their own, yes, right? But what were some of the, innovations that kind of make things a little bit easier, the relationships that we all have with the community, and I don't know, some highlights, some notable, positive things that came out of the year?
One thing for me was definitely, like you were saying, like being the gym teacher. I made it my role once I realized the kids were really, really hungry for activity and going outside. I was like, I'm gonna be a gym teacher. So I made sure every day there was a lot of time where we were either playing some kind of active game or throwing cartwheels or learning kind of new skills like that, or holding plank competitions or whatever it was, or running, doing sports outside. And that's not something that I really have a background in, but it was so gratifying to see that just light up with that. So that was definitely good.
Yeah, I definitely saw you as a good gym teacher for the next time. I was trying to do science projects with them in a real way. It's like we grew some plants. We go out to our planter now, but they help me water it every day. And then we had our own little seeds to plant, and then we did a volcano. We were like, okay,
I
this
saw
is
pictures of it.
yeah. If you want to check out the exhibit, it's gonna be outside at 12:19. There's a volcano that we actually try to figure out how to get it to explode. We had to really try to figure out what's the old school stuff.
Right.
Let's get tactile. Let's no more screens. Let's get dirty and messy. So there's just touching dirt.
Well, at our site, we would always try to keep a theme month, or we'll always try to do something fun out of the whole month. So we would have Wacky Wednesday, because it drives up crazy characters. Or we'll have pajama day. But I know if it was every Friday, it was every other Friday. We would either have pizza or water ice, just something they have something to look forward to. We just try to keep it fun, because even though they're in school, and they just, some days you're just I hate my life. Okay, school, I did it. We always try to keep the fun and the fun alive, the kid alive, and we'll have random little parties here and there, just so they don't look, when they come to our building, they're just sit in this classroom, right? So just, I guess the importance of just keeping the fun spirit, even though everything was locked down, just keeping the whole just energy, you're in school, but when you're done with class, that's when fun's gonna happen. So, they always have that to look forward to. So you just try to keep it, something going on so they can look forward to coming to school.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that came out this year. First, just watching kids have those human connections. I think as we have recognized that a lot, we have many students who couldn't handle the online learning environment, but also the online just classroom environments. Like, you know, some kids could really just handle a breakout room with a random class that they didn't just know this year. But when they were able to go off screen and interact with peers, it was awesome to really see those interactions and really see them, form genuine social bonds with peers and the staff too. And our staff too, they wanted us to have fun too. They were like, you know what, did you finish your homework? No, you know what? Let's consider it, but you know what? I think let's take a break. Let's see what do you want to do. How can we make this day feel a little better beyond the school day? And along with that, I guess another really great thing was just fresh perspective of these kids. I will say, like, it was one part was a bummer that we had part of our student population be new students that we formally didn't serve, and another pocket of kids were kids that we did formally serve. But because it's a very different environment, like, I get to see my kids in the classroom setting, and that was actually, for me as an educator, it was a nice perspective to see, like, what are their actual learning needs and their learning gaps, and how could I potentially support that in a way, but at the same time take that same exact experience and try and find another place to really share. We even have students who have specialists, students who have therapists working with them, or students have, all kinds of therapists working with them. And for us being like this new set of eyes, looking at the child and seeing his observation and able to report that, it's like, we have kids from new students who started with us this last school year and are now with us in summer camp, and seeing them unplug essentially from the computer and seeing them just be kids. It's like, for me, it's like really refreshing to first understand, like, see how they work in a classroom environment, and then think about, okay, if I take that out, what's the potential I have for them? And it's been awesome because I've been working with you behavioral health therapists or technicians, and bring in this like different insight. And I was like, hey, this is what I see. I know you haven't been able to come in person and work with your client, but this is what I'm observing. And then it's been really helpful for parents who have because for me, it's like, I'm working in elementary and private schools, middle schools, but to be in this like out school kind of position, it's like, I don't see this as like an education. I see this as like a holistic approach for a child in a community setting. And then lastly, I think all that's culminated for me personally is being a stronger advocate for education. Honestly, I think there's lots of gaps in K-12 education. I think most providers have a lot of insights to offer to really make systematic changes in the K-12 system. And outside of, for me, I also do early childhood education, so it's like I found myself wanting to participate more in my policy and advocacy and connecting with my senator, connecting with our house reps in our district, and being like, this is what I'm seeing in education. Can we have some things happen? I think with just last part, I guess, with the Biden administration, the last year with a lot of bills, and acts, and plans impacting pre-K, infant, K-12 education, higher education, this last year has really helped inform me and become almost more politically engaged. Because I also recognize that we're also part of a much larger structure of the nation. And I think our education issue transcends beyond our Senate, but it's also historical. That's kind of a book to write.
Yeah.
We'll look forward to it. All the autographs, right? And I think that's a great way to perhaps close out this space is, reflecting on this past year and, personal growth, maybe no growth, and that's perfectly fine. It's so dramatic. 365 plus days. Looking ahead, what aspirations do you have for yourself, whether personal or professional capacity, but what aspirations do you have for the larger ecosystems that you're now a part of?
That was valid.
Journal for a little bit.
I think, I guess just to be sure, it's like, I just hope we put families in the center. Well, families in the center of all of this. I know we've been talking about students, but we also have to recognize that the pandemic has caused a variety of issues impacting our families. And folks have mentioned it with housing, food insecurity, unemployment, health inequalities and disparities. Like, my hope and aspiration that coming out of this is that we're more family focused, that we're not just so focused on our industries and focused on like the services, that we're really thinking about how can we serve the family as a whole. You know, access to being one was honestly just a slice of the pie, but there's so many other pieces of this puzzle that was caused by the pandemic. My hope is that as a society we really tackle it together. And I'm saying together intentionally because I just feel like there's been so much disconnection prior to the pandemic, and now experiencing the pandemic, I think everything else fall apart. It's like, it got exacerbated, so many inequalities and disparities got exacerbated because there was medical teaching, and there wasn't collaboration, and so I'm glad I know Rocky now. And so,
Or just maybe, what are you looking forward to in the summer or the fall time?
I'm excited to go back to the school, because I transferred, I used to work at McKinley, so now, well, the middle school, so now I'm going to the elementary, so I'm excited to see, you know, the kids in like in their natural habitat,
Yeah.
you know.
We should do that too.
Yeah.
Oh, we should quantify it.
No,
And
no,
like,
no,
it's
no.
reclaim that.
Reclaim it,
So it's
yeah.
like raw meat out of water.
Right, it's too stressful.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of brings me to what I'm looking forward to, like, I'm kind of getting into, more coming into an art practice that I'm excited about, and, it's always informed by, you know, what I'm going through, what I'm learning, so I'm excited to see where it's, like, now working with kids, it's gonna start to take that. But I'm also excited about the idea of like becoming an educator, because I never thought that I was gonna be doing that. I thought I was just kind of like
Fun.
filling in the media, like babysitting, you know?
Yeah.
And now, like, after like watching children like learn to read, like right next to me, and like, you know, accomplish things that I never thought.
It's so exciting.
And they get so excited. They're like, listen. Yeah, that's just a beautiful thing, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I think that's the thing too, that seeing the value of these programs after school and seeing it as like, not tackling like just symptoms like here and there, but really seeing that full systemic change, like how it's all connected, interwoven together. And for me as a artist too, I'm just like, okay, like how do you stay open and then make that art that speaks to people, speaks to, and just your own personal growth. And I've actually, it's like hard because like, oh, my introvert became like, oh, I want to see other people and talk to them about what's happened, you know, and stuff like that. But it's become more of a thing. How do you reach out intentionally to the right people that you want to see and grow? I think at some point I want to see those kids back here,
Yeah.
right? We want to show them the exhibit and show them what they meant to us. Because I think part of it, like on our last day, we really said like, okay, we're not going to see you again. Peace. You know, it's just like they don't have that. And I remember being that young and not thinking that ahead. It's like these adults were here, and then in 10 years we might say like, I was somewhere and they tried to help. You know, that's one thing I look back and I was like, you know what, we did something. We'll know about it later, but right now we are just moving into our new phase of this weird year. But it's been fruitful just seeing kids interacting again, and hopefully, yeah, like if they, you know, when we all debrief it like thoroughly, maybe next year we'll see the changes in schools and a community setting really merge together.
For your time and just sharing your lived experiences, but also the narratives of those that you served and worked with and worked for. It's, I got to know a lot of you in the past few months. It's hard to hear these stories, and also recognize the lack of, permanency in how these stories are validated and recognized. That's something that we had talked about in one of our previous conversations. It's just like, this is part of like our history and the kids' history. And you need space to, really recognize that. So thank you all for being in this space and share it.
Yeah. Well, I also want to thank you too, because I think in the beginning we were, like just talking to ourselves and other access centers. You came in and really wanted to care about this, and that helped us, I think, in a way to say like, oh, this is an important thing, and we're holding it. But you definitely were our container. So I want to thank you for. I think you did 2 sessions with us, and it's so healing. And those ones were, let's keep it going. Okay, we got this. Right, so it was like one of those things that, and then all you guys for joining us today, and really being open about it. I think we've just been talking more and more, and we just want to have these open dialogues with any community people. That's what we do. We convene, right? And if you did enjoy this, come back to look up any of our social medias at Asian Arts Philly. Is the Instagram, and come back to the website, check out the exhibit. It is live, and we are going to be open for very limited. It's still pandemic, so you got to schedule time in, and also just like if you're just walking by, you can see the window exhibit where we do show off our cool volcano, but it's almost a diorama of a student workspace, if you're interested in seeing how they were having to be on Zoom. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for everyone that helped make this happen. Gino, Jawan, and thank the audience for joining us and staying with us this whole time. And if you like what you saw, subscribe and hit that notification button.
What else did you learn? Do I want to know?
I learned something about TikTok.